everyone, and welcome to the Annex. I am one of your darling hostesses, Luna,
And I am Terry.
and we are just two quirky educators navigating through educational news and topics, the fun, the foolishness, and the fabulousness of the news and entertainment, and of course, figuring out this adulting stuff. So, Terry, how was your week?
It was all good until this afternoon. I'm in a whole mood, y'all. So excuse me today, but I'm like that picture with I Love New York sitting in the room with the glasses right now.
Uh,
That's my mood right now. That's how I feel. But
yeah.
it was good. It was all right. I didn't really do much this week. So, what about you?
This week has been very interesting, and I'll get into all of that in scaffolds and memos, but a lot of kind of back to school stuff.
Oh yeah, I did
Um,
that. I forgot.
yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, we were in PD all week. I did. We won.
It's
Yeah.
so funny. I was just like sitting there at the computer, like, okay, I'm a teacher. I have to remember that. Oh yeah, how do you do this again? This teaching thing and writing lesson plans. How do you do that again? I had to remember how to be a teacher again.
Girl, that might be me soon.
Oh, well, let's get into it. Scaffolds and memos. We're back with scaffolds and memos, everybody. We got some scaffolds and we got some memos for you this week. So, as you may or may not know, listeners or friends, that New York City is preparing to go back. The the date of the beginning of school is September 10th. And at this point, everyone is very confused about that start date because all the things that need to be in place are not necessarily in place. So I know that Terry has been doing this week as well as myself. We've been planning, working with our school teams, our PLCs, and trying to, prepare for the first, month of school. But we are in this weird limbo where we don't know if it's starting on the 10th or not.
So I'm just gonna say before I start speaking that these are the opinions of Terry. These are not the opinions of Luna or the New York City Department of Education. I am in
Let's put that
America.
disclaimer out
Let
there,
me put
stamp
that
it.
out because it might get a little
Passionate.
passionate today. That's a good word. Because I have a whole attitude with New York City right now. So, like, I really have an attitude. I'm trying to stay calm and look at the glass half full. I have a job, I get that, but it's a hot mess. And that's just the black bottom line. And I'm really confused as to why whoever's making the decisions are confused. Why are they confused on the importance of us starting remotely at this time? Why is that even a question?
Exactly.
Because like there's facts on the streets, you can Google it, of different school districts around the United States that tried to do the blending look and tried to do the opening and failed. There, everyone's remote. Even in my school district, COVID cases increased. They didn't even start yet. We got the call that everyone out here will be starting remotely. So they're being smart. And it's a much smaller school district with real ventilation, not open windows. So I'm just really blown at this push by the city officials to open school. I feel like it might go back to something financial.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with money. I don't know what, but it has to do with money because that's the only time people just don't consider everything.
Right.
So that's my spiel. I'm sorry.
You're gonna step down off your
I
soapbox
digress.
now?
I might come back.
You gonna
I
step back
digress.
up soon? All right.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem,
Go
girl.
ahead. Go.
Yes, no problem. Yeah, there's been a lot of things put out there. One of the options for those that are working in the school building is outdoor classes. Like if you're in college or even high school, that kind of setting where you have kind of that freedom to have instructional time outdoors. So schools can apply to have
Have they been?
outdoor instruction.
My face, right? Like, have they been to the Bronx? I'm sorry. Like, have you been to some of the parks in the Bronx and some of the streets? Real talk. Like, literally, there are some schools that had to have shelter ins in the middle of the day
Mm-hmm.
because of violence, gun violence outside. There's
Right.
literally in our communities high high number of homelessness. It's not the cleanest. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you're going to be out there teaching who Stuart Little and his friends.
Stewart, young Stewart, take my attendance. Stewart,
Stuart's
are
going to
you
be your assistant.
Mr. Little? Are you
Like
ready?
literally, everybody knows that New York City has a high infested rat problem, and that's not just in the trains; it's in the parks. We literally, like, if you go to work early in the morning, the rats are going to work too. Like,
Yes, you have to step out the way because they go to work in droves.
yeah, like we all just trying to get to where we gotta be. Rats,
No, no
pigeons,
beef, no beef.
chickens,
Just
chickens,
alinya in the streets.
chickens. Like,
Hmm.
so I don't get it. Somebody tweeted, so how are we going to get Wi-Fi outside? Where will we put our smart boards?
And again, this is where you come back and you're looking at the equity
Right.
piece, because are there schools that have the premises to do that, where they have enclosed park areas, outdoor areas, partial outdoor areas where they can
Absolutely.
have it? Absolutely, 100%. So it will be absolutely no problem for them. But there are schools and districts who do not have that going for them, so that's not even an option. And then when you think about it, October, November, where outside you going?
That doesn't make any sense. First of all, like someone sent a picture or tweeted a picture. I forgot what school it was of like needles literally around the block.
Yes.
They're not thinking about these little details when they come up with these elaborate ideas that make sense to no one but themselves.
Shout out to the custodial team and staff, because they're the ones that have to deal with all those things that are going on and around the school just regularly. I mean, beyond COVID, they're out there cleaning up all those things that are on the sidewalks outside of the school building that are not appropriate to be around children or around the school, and they are cleaning those things all the time. So shout out to custodial staff, for just being on the front lines always.
There's just too much going on in certain areas around the city
Hmm.
to even put anybody, nevertheless, anyone's child outside. So, I'm sure the principals are like, no, negative. That was not a really a good idea for all of us. So I just cackled. I sent that to everybody. Like, did you see this? Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
So also, there's so much, guys. Our union is not having it
Hmm.
right now. There've been union meetings going on this week, and particularly preparing staff members for a possibility of striking, like a strike.
Which is scary. Believe it or not, folks, friends, teachers want to teach.
Right.
We want to be in the building. We want to, do what we need to do. We want to connect with your children, which there are children as well. We want to strike. We don't want to do that. But when you feel like your life, and not just your life, your family life is in being put in danger, and it need not be, then you have to protect yourself. And so striking is one thing that teachers don't want to do. Nobody wants that. But we have to be safe. Those precautions have to be there. It has to be better. And if starting remotely is going to help make sure that happens, I don't see why this is such an issue, because it's been already seen that in places where
Right.
the counts were low and they said, okay, let's go back in. They went back in.
And
Everybody was
it
mixing.
went back up.
No way of making sure everyone follows protocols. And there you go. They had to shut back down and send hundreds of people back home because they became infected. Even right now, the mayor had first said that the bars and the clubs and things of that sort were going to open, restaurants fully, and now he rescinded it because it's clearly not a good choice right now. Yes, Terry.
I had my hand up because I'm,
Yes,
in
she
class.
had.
That's what you do. So here's I'm wondering, I'm gonna, how is it that you don't feel it's safe enough to open bars and restaurants, but you feel that it's safe to open school buildings? Have you been in a classroom in the inner city? That's my wondering because you can try to socially distance in the classroom.
But when you're dealing with young children who are very needy, they need a lot, generally speaking, it's going to be very difficult.
First of all, the desks are humongous. Let's start there. Depending on like what furniture you have in your building, there's some buildings that have cool furniture, but like if you have like standard furniture, the desks are pretty huge, especially in the upper grades. There's that. Then you have your bookcases, you have all of the other furniture, the easel, the the kidney table, all
The
of that.
the technology cart,
The technology cart,
your
all of that,
desk.
all of that.
If there's a co-teacher, it's an ICT class. There's two desks.
Just let me give you an example. When I was in the classroom, just give you some context on the lack of space. I gave up my desk. So I never had, like, after a certain amount of years, I stopped having a desk. Like, I would put it in the hallway and ask the custodians to take it away. I don't need it because that's how much space it took up in my room for
Mm-hmm.
us to be comfortable in a regular setting. You
And
see,
that's with
I
a
used the
class of like 25.
25 or more. I used the kidney table, or I used to sit next to the kids. They loved it. I would just sit next to them.
I love
And
that. They were like,
sometimes, wait, when people would come into my room and say, "Where's
they're
the
like, where's
teacher?"
the teacher? It was like, where's Waldo? You were like,
Like, yeah, I'm right here. Hi. Um, so that's like how big and bulky some of the furniture is in certain buildings, not all. So that it just doesn't make any sense to me. Then there are other members, i.e., me, and other positions through Central who right now have no clue what's going on with their position. Like some people that are in the building that are clusters or prep teachers are being used as classroom teachers in their building. Then you have other staff that service many buildings. That's up in the air. Nobody really knows like what exactly is going on. Organization sheets haven't been finalized because there are people still applying for remote accommodations.
mm-hmm.
People are being asked to apply for remote accommodations now.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's taken, so
And students as well are still applying for
applying for
remote
remote,
accommodations.
school begins in 2 weeks, guys. Nothing is in place. Nothing is in place. So it's really just, we have no calendar. That was a big thing on Twitter today. People are like literally cursing at the mayor. Like, I don't have the audacity because I feel like people are watching, but the people that give no cares are literally cursing him out. Like, how about you put out an effing calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I was making an appointment today for the dentist, and the lady said, "Oh, well, let me see what days you have off." I'm like, "Sis, we do not know. So let's
No.
just try a Saturday. I know I have that."
Right. Exactly. I was doing the same thing this week, making appointments, and I was like, I need something later in the afternoon because I possibly could be working, could not be. Who knows?
I don't know my hours. I don't know what's going on. So it's just a hot mess, and the big, the biggest issue is that for our union, the safety precautions are not in place.
Right.
And what's really bothering me is that De Blasio, remember, this is my opinion, it's going on national TV, showing, displaying one school, maybe out of the whole city, with all these wonderful things. That's that one school that looks like that has the new ventilation system and the fabulous desk. I believe it was in Far Rockaway that he did his press conference. But he's saying one thing publicly, but we know the real.
Right.
So that's why I stopped going to their town halls. I'm not going because nothing you're saying is reality in our world. It's in maybe one school district reality, it's in one school district's reality, but not all of ours. And
Right.
it's unfair. And that goes back to what you said, equity.
Hmm.
People, their parents that still do not have devices.
Or they have a device that was hanging on by its last thread when they received it, because schools are so underfunded. They don't have the resource or the money, really. I'm saying resources, but the money to get new technology or upgraded technology or upgrade their buildings to withstand that level of technology, because a lot of the buildings are old. So it requires a lot of rewiring that is expensive.
Yeah,
So
the rewiring part. Like, you just don't have it. It's just not physically possible. So I don't know. That was me. And that's my rant. I've been in the mood today, received some emails that just upset me the most today. Like, I
mm-hmm.
haven't been really upset until today. Like, today, really, for me, it's just like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
And I mean, I would love to know what I'm doing so I can plan appropriately. That's another thing. I'm wire hangers. If I was a teacher, where would I be next week? Sitting in my classroom. First one
Right.
in. Like, like, some people like to plan ahead. Like, it's just reminding me of what happened in March. You gave everybody 3 days. 3 days to convert to remote learning.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers that have been in the system for years, that, your old school staff, poor babies, they were like lost. They were lost. They like, Google Classroom, what?
Yeah. There was just, I mean, granted, that was an eye opener
Right.
for people. If they had no clue before, they definitely know now that support is needed in that area within the schools, not just like, for remote learning, just in general. You need like a tech person that just deals with the hardware aspect of the technology. Every single school should have one. And there are so many wonderful programs out there where there are partnerships, but again, that's something that comes out of the school's budget.
Guess what?
Yes.
I know somebody personally that
Hmm.
that's their job in the school building, to monitor the tech. That's all they do. But guess where
Right.
that is? Westchester County.
I was like, Westchester.
For the hair flip. Work in the
Yes,
Bronx, B.
West.
Uh,
I'm from
but
from Westchester.
yeah, that's it, and that's like, I. This is a different topic. Um, it goes back to a interview I was listening to with Kamala Harris, the new nominee for vice president, and she said, when people speak about defunding the police, it's not saying take away the police, just kind of reallocating how much money you put into that, and maybe focus on education, because they're quick to do budget cuts in education. Just reallocating that money so that our schools have that same equity.
Hmm.
So to her point, it makes a lot of sense. Like, maybe reallocating your
Moving
budget.
things around.
That's it. And maybe focusing a little bit more on education so you do not have families and you can hire that tech person in every school building. Like someone said today on a call, it's a shame that it took this pandemic for people to realize there were not school nurses in every building.
That was something that was news to me because I guess in my head I was just like, oh well, they have a healthcare professional in the building, and I just assumed that healthcare professional was also a nurse. So yeah.
Like I didn't know that. Like I didn't know there wasn't a nurse in every building. I thought like just like you have your principal, assistant principal, you have a nurse, you have a guidance counselor. Thought that was just protocol.
And I don't even think every school has an assistant principal, I want to
Or
say.
oh, that's crazy.
It
Depends on the
depends.
size.
It depends on the size of the school. Or some schools have several.
And then some schools only have like one.
Right.
But
Some
every
schools
school has a guidance counselor. I hope.
okay.
I don't know. Or
Girl,
a social worker. You see, we don't know.
no clue.
That's
Because I
crazy.
remember talking about some of the positions we have at our school, and I remember someone saying, "Who's that? What do they do?" And I was like,
Whoa.
"What?" So, and this was an educator, so it wasn't even like it was just a parent that may not be aware or what have you. It was an educator that works in a school. So very interesting, a lot of eye openers. But
Well, we know that what we do know is the school date of the school first day of school is projected to be September 10th
mhm,
for the DOE, whether that be remotely blended because each school had to choose a different model. And right
mhm.
now, I'm sure your administrators are sending out letters letting you know which group you're in, which day you start. I
I
know
think
there's
they're using like next week to figure that out.
so just look out for that from your schools. September, I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks they say, hey, let's not start September 10th. We're not ready. Or, hey, let's just all start remotely September
Right.
10th. That's the prayer.
Yeah, so pray, please keep the city schools in your hearts and in your minds and in your thoughts.
The city schools are on the sick and shut in list for me. Like, I can't. New York City is on the sick and shut in list. They're on my prayer, in my prayer book.
Mhm. Well, let's move on, friends, to the next section, Earth is Ghetto, and I'm out.
Earth is so ghetto. Like I mean, 2020. Like
This is supposed to be the future. It was supposed to be bright and
I'm
many
supposed to
wonderful things happening,
be
right? I'm supposed to have my spaceship.
my car that flies and have my button that puts my makeup on. Like, and this
Rosie, the machine maid.
I'm supposed to get a whole Boston Market meal from a P. Like,
Right. A Starburst chew. It's supposed to have
right.
all a
Like
whole meal.
it is just not giving that. It is giving I have to log off sometimes because it is a hot mess.
Mhm.
So let's see. Let me get my notes. Oh, yes. Let's start with the election.
the con- the conferences.
Girl, I definitely went and looked at the highlights. I could not stomach the RNC highlights. I'm sorry, but we're gonna get into that. The DNC highlights.
Hmm.
So on YouTube, they have the highlights of each day because
Right.
I did not watch. Some of you did. I did not. They have Michelle Obama, of course, my forever first lady,
Miss
auntie.
She. Miss She.
She said things will get worse if we don't have any change. She
Hmm.
kept it 100% real, which she always usually does. Um, like we're putting our lives in danger because the decisions that the current administration is making has kind of been detrimental for our country. They did a nice moment of silence for those people that died under the hands of police brutality. They said they had a whole moment of silence and they said say their names. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
nice that
Oh.
they highlighted that. Then they had Cuomo. He needs to be now. First of all, Cuomo for president. Can we like? I never really paid that man much attention, but he's kind of been doing his thing. He had a whole metaphor for America
Uh-oh.
about COVID as a system and it attacks a weak immune system.
Mm.
He said our division and the racial injustice is America's weak immune system, and it was caused by Donald Trump. Of course, they were coming for Donald Trump.
All his edges. Snatch, snatch,
And
snatch, snatch, snatch.
so, like everything that's going on, the reason why it's affecting us because us as America have a weak immune system due to the current
Mm.
administration. I was like,
Mm.
you better preach. What's the offering plate?
Mm.
Um, then they had a woman from the governor from Michigan. What I thought was funny, she said, she stated her name. I forgot her name. I should have wrote it. She said, as you know, I'm that woman from Michigan, as Donald Trump calls me. Like I can hear him saying, that woman from Michigan. Some a Republican came on, but the Republicans did the same thing. They had a Democrat go on there too. So I guess blah, 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 blah. Oh, Bernie Sanders, of course. Obama, his nice speech. It's about 19 minutes. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I would love to watch it. They had a letter from military families that have been affected by some of the decisions by the current administration.
Mm-hmm.
This little girl wrote a letter that her mother was sent back to her country because of a law that was put in place. It
Mm-hmm.
was really, they try to like get to the people in their hearts. They add, they have the children. They had a woman that was shot in the head to talk about, the gun laws. So
Mm-hmm.
every platform or every issue, they had someone that was directly affected by that
Right.
issue,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was cool. So then moving on to this week, um, the RNC highlights was hilarious. Melania,
Hey, Melania.
I got her
Hey,
name
cousin
right.
Melania.
That's your cousin?
That's my cousin. I'm adopting Melania.
Why? She's like,
I have to. I gotta because
you feel
Melania.
you feel bad for her.
I do.
You feel like she's like in a reverse sunken place for white people.
I don't think she's in the reverse. I think she's just captive and she wants to be free, but she's not there yet.
Aw. They had Donald Trump Jr.
Um,
speak. They have both his children speak. You know what their platform is? They're saying that the suburbs are in danger because of low income housing. And you know who they had as speakers at this event, which
who?
really blew. You know that, I don't know if you remember the couple that came out with their guns when protesting.
Yes.
They were like highlighted speakers saying, if you do not protect your home and your community, things like what happened to us can happen to you. Our communities are in danger. I was
Oh
blown
my.
away. Like the
That's a
fact that
little
they
scary.
that they used you bringing out guns to people that they're not at your house. From what I remember, they were walking past your home. You came out with the gun. So just everything opposite of the Democrats. They had Herschel Walker, which the internet dragged this dude. Apparently, he was one of the greatest football players, but he's a Trump supporter. He was dragged, and they also had another congressman, Daniel Cameron, a congressman, the attorney general from Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
where Breonna Taylor's killers has not been arrested yet.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke, and also they had this black lady. Her name is Kim Clackett. She was a congresswoman, and she was, speaking about how we, the Black Republicans, she's from Baltimore, in the support of Donald Trump. So I'm really interested to see how this election goes because I'm a little concerned. I don't know.
Everyone should be concerned.
I don't know.
So if if you have not voted before, this is definitely the year to make sure you do so. You know,
Yeah.
especially all those folks that just got voting rights. This is the year. This is the year to do it, to make sure that you put your vote in and it counts. Um,
What I just don't understand, regardless of your opinion or your political party, it is very clear and obvious of the disparities as far as race in this country. Like you can
mhm,
just Google anything and you just see it. Even to our next topic online about how black and brown people, people of color, are treated differently here.
mhm,
Like it is in the DNA of this country. This is how the country started.
right.
Like I just Googled and I shared it on the Google Classroom. You have to visit the Google Classroom.
I
It's
get the
hilarious.
alerts, but I haven't been yet. But I do get the
About
alerts.
like the truth about Thanksgiving.
Right.
And a lot of the things that we were taught was has been whitewashed to make it seem
It was never whitewashed for
it was
me.
never white. Oh, you because you was always woke because
With
you went to a woke school,
I did.
right? But like for me, that went to a regular school where we were
Mhm,
taught what they wanted us to learn,
mhm.
with the Indians, which is not even the correct term, and the Pilgrims. um, uh, that didn't happen like that, you
Sure didn't.
know. And so, like, it's so blatant, and I'm just baffled at how some people really just can't see that, regardless of what you want to
I don't
believe.
think that's it at all.
You
It's
think they
not.
see it?
I think they see it, but it's like when you see something, and I know I've done this myself. You see something, but you feel, or you may think, one, there's nothing I can do to change it. So that's one. Number two, I kind of like the way things are.
Doesn't affect me.
My don't exactly doesn't affect me. So it's not that. I think there are some people who had no clue. Like they just were ignorant in the like true sense of it. Like they just did not know. They just were not aware of it. Or it may happen, but it only happens over there. It
Right.
doesn't happen here,
Ridiculous.
or it doesn't happen to my friends who are people of color, because in my mind they have not said anything about it, therefore it has not happened to them. So I think there's a lot of mindsets when it comes to just being aware of the racism and how intrinsic it is in our country. I think a lot of people, it's just many mindsets, and I think there are people who are okay with it
They
in
like
in
it like
in
that.
public. And right, in public they may be like, oh, that's horrible, that's it's a disgrace, but in private they're like, yeah, yes,
My
I
neighbors.
ain't mad at it. So I mean, I don't know how you can't change the mindset of anyone. They have to see it for themselves and make a decision.
But
And some
even
people
outside of that,
and
though,
some
like,
people have already made the decision that it's okay
but
because it
even
does
out,
not affect them.
but even outside of that, outside of black or white, right is right and wrong is wrong. So even if you said this country's not racist, which they really ranted a lot at the RNC, they kept saying we are not racist. Of course, okay, sis, you're human, right? Right? So black or white, no, nobody should be shot while they're trying to get in their car.
A friend, that's only if you believe that everyone else you're dealing with is human.
Ooh, come through, facts. Through.
If
That's
you do
that's
not respect someone at the human level to say that they are your equal, there are men who don't believe that women are their equal.
that's very true.
So let alone someone whose skin is a different shade than yours. So if you believe that your sister, your wife, your mother, your daughter is nowhere near equal to you, what am I gonna expect? What should I expect from you?
Hence why Earth is ghetto, because just the fact that you don't think humans are humans and
I'm
they're
like,
below you.
women don't get the same pay as men
True.
in some industries. So I mean, right there should be pay difference should only be based upon the skill or the job title, not on your gender or your skin color or your culture.
So this country's effed up. It's my opinion right now. And like I shared with Luna yesterday, I feel like this country is a bully. Um, it's a insecure bully, right? And so that's just my sentiments. And honestly, if I could really be out, I would. Like in real, I would go. Canada don't want us to come. They said no.
They said no, thank you.
And I'm like, that was my go-to. Canada said, nah, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks. However, Africa, they're starting to open the doors. Like, come back.
All right, come on.
So in light of all this racism, another young man was attacked. Jacob Blake.
Jacob Blake.
Yes, where he was shot 7 times in the back. He was breaking up a fight between women. His sons were in the car, and as he's walking away to get in his car, the police officer grabbed him up and shot him in the back 7 times. I watched him walking around the car, and I saw the police officer grab his shirt, but then I stopped the video because I cannot
I don't watch
see
such
that.
things. I don't do
For
that.
me. And then people are upset because people are tired. We've been tired. We've been yelling that we're tired. The mood of the country has definitely changed this year. This was just another reason for us to add fuel to the fire. NBA said, "Oh, you're not going to do anything." Started with the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
who said, "Okay, so we're not going to play. You're not going to have justice." I think it was after the guy Kyle Rittenhouse. First of all, his name sounds like a house in Game of Thrones. I couldn't. I was like Rittenhouse. That dead sounds like a Game of Thrones family.
It's like, ooh, he has a long history of just
medieval times and all
slaughter.
Of that. Felt a Trump supporter. The internet. Can I just say the internet is done?
They
undefeated.
Undefeated. They always win, and I give them the crown every time. The internet.
Yo, once they found out who it was, they found his picture at a Trump rally in the front row. Like, somebody went to the.
They are home and they have time.
I said, okay. You know what? Internet, you're the best. He's a Trump supporter, white supremacist. Decided he was going to take things in his own hands. He went there, drove 20 miles, and apparently his mother drove him. So they want her in jail too. With his what is it? I said the gun wrong. AR-15.
See, that's how you know we don't know. Look,
I don't know.
We don't know anything about anybody's guns.
I don't even have one. But yeah, and decided he was going to shoot at protesters. Killed one. Killed two.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was, he was walking towards the police and he did like a hand signal. Like he really thought he was the gang. But the police dapped him and gave him some water. Was like, you handle it. We're going to push them to you. They worked together. And it was so sad because I believe the police, the head, what's the, someone there, the police chief, basically, someone alluded to the fact that if people weren't outside past curfew, this would have never happened. Curfew?
First of all, nobody, not a single person should get unlawfully shot for any reason.
It just, so the NBA, the big news yesterday that I was like, let's go! NBA did not play yesterday, but they agreed to play today.
Yeah. And
I
the
don't.
WNBA also, and they also wore shirts with 7 holes in the back,
I don't.
and
I
it
think.
had
Oh,
his
the name.
name on the front.
Oh, and baseball too.
Oh, baseball as well. I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah. The Padres, the Dodgers, San Fran Giants. They also boycotted yesterday. Not postponed. Boycotted. So it's really people are tired. So now everyone's like, we should have listened to Kyrie. We should have listened to Kaepernick. Kaepernick started this 4 years ago, and I saw that he started the same day 4 years ago. Yesterday,
Mm,
he knelt for the first time. So
that's some universal karmic craziness right there.
I really think I don't I in my opinion, I have to keep saying this. I really feel like no one should play any sports. Like you, no one, especially because black and brown people are the core of your sports entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So like you want me to play for your entertainment, but you're shooting someone that looks just like me. There have been instances where actual athletes have had confrontation with police officers because they didn't realize that was a professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with LeBron. LeBron wants to cancel he wants to cancel everything.
Yes,
I'm with him.
LeBron.
Yeah, he wants to
Yeah.
cancel everything.
And the tennis player, oh, I can't remember her name. She also
Yeah,
boycotted. Oh, why can't I? Okay, I'm gonna say her name. You're not gonna catch me in these streets not saying that young lady's name.
I know. Yeah, so it was really nice to see people come together. There was an NBA commentator that walked off live.
Mm-hmm.
He walked off Kenny Smith. He walked off the set live. And it's so funny because their white comrades are just nodding and they're like we understand. Like they don't have it's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. So you have these NBA, these sports figures on on the internet crying. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are upset. So it's really sad that. And I was watching a video of from the 1960s, the same rhetoric. Can you believe that? The same rhetoric that was being stated.
Rhetoric.
Oh, rhetoric. Yeah, you're right. So let's add that to words I say wrong.
That's that. Yeah.
That's that Bronx accent.
Ish Terry says wrong.
Right.
Rhetoric.
Rhetoric. Rhetoric.
Rhetoric. I love it though.
The one word that I don't like is conversate.
Oh, I hate that word.
I don't like that, but a lot of my Bronx comrades say that.
Every time I hear it, I
I don't like
cringe.
that. I'm
Oh,
like converse. That's the one thing I do have right, but
go
rhetoric.
Terry, go.
Hey,
What
smart guy,
what
but just
somebody said? He said this is not my language.
yeah, no, I just have a
So
heavy, heavy Bronx accent. So yeah, well, I forgot what I was saying. See, Luna, let me forget.
sorry.
What was I talking
So
about?
I don't know. Someone was spurting rhetoric. Um.
I forgot.
Okay, keep it pushing.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. While you're looking for that young lady's
I don't
name,
know why I can't remember her name right now.
kudos to Kaepernick
Mm-hmm.
for getting your your things now. You was on the way before everyone. You were woke and ready for the smoke back then. You're still not allowed to play in the NBA, but hopefully when the NFL, but hopefully when the NFL season starts, we have some more boycotts because that's the only way things are going to change is when we hit what interests the powers that be in their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way. You can march all day. Like there was a virtual NAACP march today and tomorrow, which I think is cool. However, I think the NBA protest is makes more noise than a virtual march. because they're not paying attention to your virtual March.
Yeah. But I mean,
So
listen, do what you got to do to get the word out there, right?
I signed all the petitions that come my way. I did go to a few marches, but I think
Naomi Osaka.
yeah, she was focused. She
There
didn't.
we go. Sorry, Naomi Osaka. She also um, did not play.
Kyle Rittenhouse. Can't believe that's his name. He was charged for murder,
Yes, I did hear that today.
but so was George Zimmerman. so when someone is convicted, come see me. Like they convicted Bill Cosby. You could charge somebody, but it's not until you convict them that it matters. But these people are convicted and in jail. Speaking of jail, I saw that R. Kelly got jumped in jail.
What? Wait, rewind. Wait, who he got jumped
I don't
by?
know. I didn't read the story. I just saw like the headline. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, poor R. Kelly, he jumped.
I, you know what? I wondered what had happened with him because I hadn't heard anything. So, or I just didn't pay attention to it enough. But oh, so he's like in okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In other news, so this country is ghetto and still doing their ghetto things. Hopefully, we get this real systematic change that we need for justice. That's why we have to vote, like Luna said. I will be voting, you know. Um, movie theaters are opening. You going?
Girl, no. Because I actually was, streaming and watching my shows on streaming. And there was in streaming they had, well, in non-Netflix streaming, they have commercials. So they had a commercial for a movie and I wasn't paying too much attention to it, but then I heard in theaters tomorrow and I said, what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are they, what? Who's going to see that? What, who? So they said that the movie theaters are functioning at basically 40% capacity is where they'll have everything.
Right.
Um, but I don't know what their process is for disinfecting and cleaning because their regular disinfecting and cleaning wasn't that great.
Right.
In some places, I'm not gonna say everywhere, but in some places. So and most movie theater seats are fabric.
Right.
They're not like leather. So even though leather still is kind of porous, at least you can kind of disinfect it, wipe it down. I'm not sure how that works with fabric.
Catch this though. So when you go on to AMC, because I went on to be nosy, they state, their COVID regulations, and they say people have to have their mask on unless they're enjoying food and drinks. So that the sale of food and drinks has have skyrocketed
And I'm
up.
sure the prices have skyrocketed as
So
well.
I was under the impression, honestly, that the movie theaters were opening and were selling tickets for $2 to $3. I don't know where I heard that or read that. That's not the truth right now. Because when I clicked on one seat to pretend, and when it was time to check out, it was like $16. But I think that was for IMAX. The regular price for digital is 12, which I
Hmm.
feel like where I'm at, that's normal. I'm sure in the city it's probably $25 or something crazy. Like I haven't even looked. So, this COVID has really jacked up the game, and I really would like to know how it ends because
I mean,
it's like all businesses are struggling. New York companies closing.
hmm, run out
Um,
there, get y'all stuff. It's on sale.
Everything is on sale. But the girl told me, first of all, I was supposed to work there this summer, so I'm really upset. I really wanted to work there. Um, no, yes, I did. And then
Okay.
their stores will be online. So a lot of the stores are just moving to
Just
online.
purely online.
So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I don't know. We need a vaccine or something, but I will not be visiting the movie theater. I want to see Tenet. I will pay for it. I will pay for that to watch it at home
Mm-hmm.
because that's my homeboy Denzel's son.
Yes.
He's really
Young
cute.
Mr. Washington.
Shh, babe, you're everything if you're listening, but Denzel's son is really cute.
Denzel is a gimme for everybody. Just
Right.
let it
So,
go.
like, yo,
Denzel,
Denzel.
he's a hometown boy, so
No, but
just
his
let him.
son. I'm watching Ballers right now. His
Woo!
son. Wait,
And he gives you a little of that Denzel flavor too, a little bit.
with a beard, and it's like dark and curly, like.
Yes, and it's just like,
Uh, so he's in that movie, and I want to see it, not just for
yes,
his looks, but it looks like it's a good movie.
yeah, and he's pretty good.
He's a good actor because
Yeah,
on Ballers, he's doing a really good job right
yes,
now. So I'm watching that.
yeah. I watched the first season. It's really good.
And then so the last story we have, which we're kind of late probably, was Meg the Stallion versus Tory Lane, and she finally came out and publicly admitted that it was Tory Lanez that shot her, which we kind of all made our conclusions based on the facts. We made our inferences based on the facts and what we know.
I mean, I don't think it was a secret.
Right, but it was just like her coming, actually verbalizing that it was him. Was
Mm-hmm.
just big for her because apparently his publicists were spreading lies about her. I don't read into these things, so I don't know what lies was spread about her that really
Mm-hmm.
upset her, but something upset her, and she
Mm-hmm.
went on a rant
Yeah, I
on
saw a little
why,
bit of it.
and she was really upset, and he has yet to come out to say anything.
Oh well, the little bit that I did see, basically what her story is and what she's saying is that when I guess when the incident occurred and they were, the police officers were taking statements, they asked if he hit her. And
Mm,
she said no, because she didn't want him to get arrested.
right.
But now these are all things that she alleged. When he was asked if she did anything to him, he said, yeah, she did this, she did that, she hit me, she slapped me, she did. He listed a whole list of things that she did.
Mm,
And so that upset her because she put herself, her well-being, her mental and emotional well-being at risk because she wanted to protect him from being another brown man in jail. And he did not do the same. He was just like, nah, take her. She's a problem.
mm,
So I guess part of it was she's kicking herself for trying to, protect him, and he didn't do the same.
mm,
And so then now everybody has their things to say about, basically what he's saying about what happened, and attacking attacking her for not speaking up, and then attacking her for speaking up. So, and attacking her for protecting him, and attacking her for not protecting him, and making her statement and saying yes, it was him. So, I think she's just angry and she's frustrated. And I actually saw quite a few people online, a few celebrities, especially males, make statements saying that they don't like the fact that Meg is not being protected. How dare they? How dare he try to hurt her, and physically, and then even try to hurt her verbally afterwards with whatever it is that he's saying. So I saw a few actors, rap artists that I follow come out and say how just horrible, Meg is being treated in this situation. So,
and at the same time, there's some people coming against her,
mhm.
um, saying she's a snitch. Like,
I think that
I don't
term
get it.
has
Like,
just lost its like real true. I mean, I want to say real and true. This is my truth as far as it's concerned. people just use that for anybody who speaks.
Right.
And you just can't fling that. It's like when you have any new or any slang or colloquial term that people just take it and run with it, and now it's just so blah and so bland, it has no meaning anymore. You know, a snitch to me was someone who told about something they had no association with, or they did have association with, but they told in order to receive something, whether it's to have get money, to get a better life, a better status. That to me is what a true snitch is. Someone who tells somebody else's affairs or somebody else's business that isn't necessarily associated with them or has anything to do with them, or their life is in danger or anything. They just want a come up.
I feel like a snitch. I really want to research the history of that word.
I mean, I'm sure it has deep rooted,
Yeah.
connections with, American history with slavery and
I'm
things of
sure.
that
I will
sort.
put money on that.
But again, you're looking at a situation where people are telling so that they can have a different position, a different status, a better piece of the chicken, whatever it is.
Piece of the chicken.
They want the big piece of chicken. They don't want the gizzards. They want the real parts, the breasts,
That's so
white meat.
funny. That's a piece of chicken.
So, so that's why I'm just like, she's snitching because somebody tried to hurt her. No, she's protecting herself and any other person that this person may try to hurt. So
And I was becoming a real fan of Tory Lanez. His career was on the rise. Just in life. And that's what I teach my children.
mm-hmm.
You're one decision away from changing your life for the good or the bad. One decision, one choice that you make can really ruin everything that you worked hard for. Just like that. Because you didn't think it through or you acted on emotion at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
which we all do, because I act on emotion all the time. I'm not going to jail for my emotions, but there are some instances where you just could be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, what? Who told you that it was a good idea, even if you were just waving your gun at her to take out your gun? What was that given? Like, why would you do that?
Well, we don't know his trauma.
That's true. Black man's trauma is not accounted for.
So who knows why he thought that was a good choice? Who
I feel
knows?
bad. Like, he's gonna get what's coming as far as like the law. I don't know what's going to take place now that she's finally, verbally admitted it. But we'll see what happens. That was definitely trending. I must say though, she looks really different without her makeup for me.
She's so pretty.
Yeah, she looks really different with her makeup. I had to look, like I had to look deep, like ooh. Then I had to read. Oh, that's
I
Meg.
was like, I need her skincare regimen.
I want a skincare regimen. I want to get one of those things that you activate the cells in your. I was looking at some online. Activate the cells in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Braxton uses a vibrator, but
I saw that. I was like, okay. I was like, Tony, I don't think
she's so
that's.
cute.
I was like, I don't
She's so
think
cute.
that's for your face, Miss Braxton.
She is
But
so
okay.
cute to me. I wonder how Tamar is doing. I haven't heard anything. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
So the most Malcolm X told us that the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The
Mm-hmm.
most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
Come through, Mr. Shabazz. Yes.
So we're gonna send all our love and light to all our black women out here in the grind,
Mm-hmm.
protecting, working hard, doing what you do. Like we're amazing. If I were to ever be reincarnated, I want to come back as a black woman. I wouldn't come back as anything else. I have a friend that said she would come back as a white woman because she wanna know what it feels like to have privilege.
Yeah.
But I love me. I love
Yeah.
us. So
Brown
I think that's
skin
it for this ghetto.
girl.
Like, yeah, Beyonce's dope.
Kelly's dope.
Kelly's dope. I liked your post about Kelly. She's so pretty.
Go Kelly. Kelly Stan. Hey.
Yeah, you're a Kelly stan.
Yeah, so let's move into adulting. So, this week, Terry and I had some interesting conversations with each other, with friends. And one of the themes that kind of popped up was family, and relationships. And, sometimes family relationships can be toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And in that conversation that Terry and I were having, I said to her, it took me some time, but some years ago, I finally, came to the realization that everybody has family and relatives, and you need to decide who is who. Now, family does not mean someone that is necessarily blood related to you. It could be someone who is a best friend, someone who's really close to your family, who's like an auntie or uncle, play cousin, you know, so little brother, sister, big brother, sister, that has adopted you or you have adopted. So family does not have to be blood related. However, you do have people that are blood related to you that are just that, people who are blood related to you. They are not your family, they are just relatives. And you have to decide who is who and, treat them accordingly, because sometimes the toxicity sleeps in with people who are relatives and not family.
Right. And you know how many cousins I have that are not really my cousin in real life? Like, you have no blood connection. And honestly, like my best friend, you know, from
Mm-hmm.
from the sixth grade, seventh grade, I consider her more of a sister at this point. Like that's my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that I feel are my family, like, treasure. She's to me my little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, it's true because you just develop a different bond over time, and just
Mm-hmm.
because you're blood related, that's your mother's sister's daughter, doesn't mean you have that real connection. I have
Mm-hmm.
plenty of family members that I don't speak to at all. I don't even know them. Like I couldn't tell you anything about them, but I can tell you a whole lot of things about you. You know, like I could tell you everything about like my best friends. And so the problem for me when it comes to relatives, I watch a lot of Ayana Van, and sometimes they just feel
Auntie
like
Ayala.
I love her. I say that. I think I say that like every week.
Every
I was,
episode.
I do. I was in.
Ayala, if you're out there, please contact the
Please call me.
Annex.
Please call
Please
me.
contact us on Instagram, Facebook.
Um, Relatives feel like a sense of entitlement to your things because you're family, and
Mm-hmm.
I am starting to learn now at my age to kind of disconnect that. Because for a long time in my life, I felt like it was my obligation to do
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, and Z because that's my family, i.e., relative.
Right.
But then that's how you wound up getting hurt because it's not appreciated. And not in all instances. There's some instances where it is very appreciated, but it's not always valued and appreciated. Some people could just take like,
Mm-hmm. And the hope is always that you're giving in order for this person to grow.
right,
And you start to notice that they're not growing, they're just accumulating things from
right.
different sources. They're like, so they'll suck over here this person, they're vampires. They'll suck this person to their dry, they'll suck this next person to their dry, then they'll come back to you when you've replenished, you know. So you got to look to see who is always just like got their hand out.
And that goes
Like,
back to boundaries, what you
yeah.
mentioned last episode about just,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot with relatives. Like you've seen all, sure you've seen all the movies where just things hit the fan during the family. Remember Soul Food? F
Mhm.
family. Family F's my husband. Like that one.
But that's so well, y'all. We love you. You the best.
Like, sometimes just they're the worst ones, your relatives, and you just have to distinguish who you consider like gangs are considered family, or or coworkers can be considered family.
Mhm.
If you have that tight enough bond. Um, so just knowing that just because we're related, because you're related to my mama or my daddy, doesn't mean that I owe you anything.
Exactly.
Because then they don't appreciate it. And what I find is that sometimes you could do 1,000 things for someone, and they'll just forget about all the 999 things
And
that you
remember the
did
one
for them.
time you said no.
Right. Like,
Mm,
ridiculous.
trust me. It took a few times for that to happen to me for me to say, wait a minute. Like, no, like I'm like, this is not healthy. Like, I can't be here in a friendship with you. I don't care how long this lasted. I need to step away because you clearly see no problem with the things that you're doing, that you think these things are appropriate, you know. And one of our friends, he said it so well. He didn't say it in the conversation, but a conversation I had with him, or a post I did, and he replied to the post. And I used to be like, oh, reciprocity, 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 and he was like, no, f reciprocity, mutuality,
Damn.
because it's like you don't give to get back.
Right.
you know there has to be, like, we have to be like-minded in for the most part. And that's why they say when your tribe is your vibe, because you are like-minded people and you are moving and growing together because you have the same goals, you have the same ideas of sorry, Bixby is like, hey girl, I think you said my name. No, no. um Same goal, and moving towards similar things, and you're there to support each other and cheer each other on, for the ups and downs of it. So yeah, there has to be like this love and this understanding, like you and I, like, we do things for each other. You are so sweet. Like, I have to share with you, friends, I was just having a conversation about something with Terry, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was looking for this thing and I couldn't find it. I'm gonna have to look for it again." Not even a week later, a package comes in the mail, and I'm like, "Did I order something?" I was like,
Because you
"Yeah,"
probably did.
because I was like, "Man, I'm always ordering on Amazon," but I'm like, I feel like I didn't order anything, and I got the package, and I'm like, "Oh, please, baby Jesus, please let this be something all right." And I opened it, and it was the thing that I was talking to Terry about that I wanted. And I was like, who could I said Terry sent this. It had to be Terry. And I text her, or yeah, I
Yeah,
text
you
her, and
texted.
I was like, did you send me this? And she was like, yeah, you're welcome. And I'm like, oh. So it's like you do things, like when somebody does something for you without thinking about it, or just does it without, like, you know,
Like that's our friendship though. So
right.
you're part of the family at this point
Uh-huh.
because our friendship is mutuality. Like you like the lip gloss, you'll get me, or we do those things, but I just find that like I listen to the Read podcast. That's my favorite podcast. So Kid Fury Crystal, if you're listening, I
The
love
Annex
you.
should be your favorite podcast.
I mean, well, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, Annex. Um,
No, the Read is popping.
and they always, during their listener letters, which one day hopefully we'll start that. They're always reassuring people just because that's your mom, she's not entitled to your things because she made the wrong decisions. Because a lot of people will write in and say, well, this is my mom and I'm trying to do this, but because she needs this, I feel like I can't get to this goal that I need because I
Mm-hmm.
have to take care of her, or I have to do something for my dad or my cousin or my sister, my brother. And they're always telling people, no, like, you first. And just because that's your relative doesn't entitle them to hold you back from what you need to do, or to suck your resources because
Mhm.
they are not making the right decisions, or they are in a predicament. Now, if you want to help because there's that mutuality that you're stating, then that's
Mhm.
fine. But when it's not mutual, just because that's your relative doesn't have to happen. Like, there's people that really do not speak to parents, which because of the lack of mutuality. Once you become an adult, yes, thank you for my life, but we have to give and
Now
take.
it's time for me to live and explore and do the things that I need to, hit the goals I want to hit. Yes, we're forever connected, and depending on your relationship with your
Right.
parents, you may do things for them, they may do things for you, whatever the case may be, but it should never be you're obligated to do something just because that is your parent. you know you make your own choices.
Right. So just knowing those boundaries, and it's okay for a lifelong friend to be considered your family.
Mhm.
Because one year I decided I not to go to Thanksgiving dinner because my family congregates every Thanksgiving. These are, and I decided not to go because I wanted to go hang out with my best friend who I consider family. And I had
Mhm.
a great time. It felt more organic.
Mhm.
Though I love my family, we don't have that connection. Like, now we're trying to get that connection through COVID. We have like a family group chat, and we've been having Zooms. But my sister on Zoom said, "I don't know you guys. Like, I feel
Mhm.
left out." She was honest. I had to turn off my camera to like laugh. But she spoke her truth, and that opened the conversation of, we do have to do better,
Mhm.
but I'm not obligated to see you once or twice a year because that's what we relatives have to do. Or maybe I just want to be around the people that I'm comfortable with.
Mhm.
Like, how people dread family dinners
Mhm.
because they don't feel like hearing, "Oh, girl, you got fat. You're not married yet." Like the things that our relatives feel comfortable saying to
Mhm.
us.
And I have to say, I've been so blessed with that aspect. Like, my actual family that are relatives. Um, we've, our relationship has, not that it's gone through some crazy roller coaster of changes, but it's just shifted because, like, my first cousins, who they are, that I just love so much, that are up here, they're older than me. So they were always like my big sister, my big brother. And when we were younger, it seemed like we were so far apart in age. So there was like a space and time where we were kind of like just live. It wasn't negative, we were just living our lives because they were kind of adults, just becoming adults and doing adult things and out there living their lives, and I was a teenager and doing teenage things and living teenage life. And then I went to college, and so once everybody kind of stabilized in their adult lives, we got closer again and started doing a lot more things together. And so, whenever there's like a family dinner or a family outing, we actually, even before when we were younger, we get excited. Like, ooh, I gotta go get an outfit. My cousins are coming, So it's exciting. We're texting each other days before, like, things, because Thanksgiving is our big holiday together. We're texting each other days before, like, memes of when your favorite cousin. There's one of like Michael Jackson and somebody, and they're like pointing each other like that, and they're like, when your favorite cousin comes over for dinner, and we're like texting each other those memes and all this foolishness up until the day before. So, like, you and your family have Zooms, we have a WhatsApp group chat, and
Yeah,
we
we
just
do.
text each other foolishness all day, and just things like updates of what we're doing, family news, what their kids are up to, and just different things. We plan vacations through WhatsApp, like, we do all of that. So it's just a great feeling. Even my girlfriends that are my sisters, pretty much, because I don't have biological sisters. So my cousins are my biological sisters, and my close girlfriends are they are my biological sisters now. I've claimed them through the blood of Jesus.
Right.
So We have a WhatsApp group chat and we just text each other all day, all night, all hours. And, you know, we send each other pictures of our puppies, of our kids, and different things. So, you know, it's just like a healthy relationship, and we talk to each other and we ask each other questions about certain things like, hey, what do you, we run things, scenarios by each other to make sure we're not going crazy. So, yeah. So you just gotta find your tribe and vibe out.
Yeah, my family has a group chat on WhatsApp now where we
Mhm.
celebrate birthdays. Someone's so my cousin and her husband, their anniversary was just today.
Mhm.
That's new, but that came about through this whole pandemic, which was a good thing because that was the family that I felt like I didn't really know them, but
Right.
now we have that platform where we can kind of interact throughout the year, not just for the holiday. Because
Mhm.
that's sad. Sometimes you only see your relatives for like holidays or funerals.
Yeah.
So,
Big family events,
or weddings.
funerals, weddings, bat mitzvahs, whatever you got going on, you know.
Yeah. But that's it, right?
Yeah. So, friends, you can always contact us on Instagram at the Annex PC. Our email is theannexpc@gmail.com. Facebook, we are the Annex. And on Twitter, we are the Annex 14. That is the Annex 14, the number 14. And coming soon, we will be on YouTube. So you can actually see our darling faces and not just hear our voices. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, my
And
face is not all right today. I'm like,
listen, your face is always
I
all
mean, yeah,
right,
I'm still cute, but
right?
I don't got no like eyeliner on. I'm just chilling right now.
That's okay, girl. Like, however
I'm
you
so
feel, this is how I felt today. So,
my
this
black
is
is
what you get.
beautiful.
Yes, always. So, once again, I am Luna,
And I'm Terry.
and we are the Annex. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And we will catch you next time, friends. Bye.
Bye.